If Pyros and Crips all got along, they probably got me down by the end of the song. Seem like the whole city go against me. Every time I'm in the street, I hear drop, 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 drop.
Alright. I just needed to make some last minute adjustments. But this, barring any, I'm pretty sure the last, pre-draft day trade just happened. So anything from here on out, I feel like is going to happen during the draft. So, yeah. Because most of the time pre-draft day trades happen with teams that have multiple picks, and usually have had them for a while. Either have had multiple picks, have them for a while, or they're trading up for a QB. Like, for example, Trey Lance, you know what I mean? They traded, the 49ers traded up for him to number 3, so that was a pre-draft day trade. And in terms of the Eagles, they have multiple draft picks, so they figure they can move some of those around. You know what I mean? So that's what happens pre-draft day. In terms of what happens, during draft day, I think that really just depends on the situations of different teams. And let me just start this off by saying this. Let me just start this off by saying I'm not sure where this Trayvon Walker hype is. I don't know where that shit came from. I'm really not sure. I really don't know where the Trayvon Walker hype came from. I don't understand it. I really don't understand it, if I'm being honest. I mean, he's alright, but number 1 overall, some people are saying he's number 1 overall over Aiden Hutchinson and Kayvon Thibodeau. What? Just because he had a good national championship game, now people want to change their perception on him? I'm sure he's alright, but he ain't better than those two. You know, those two have been dominant for a while. This dude had maybe one good season, a couple good seasons. They've been good their entire time in college. You know what I mean? They have Kayvon Thibodeau and Aiden Hutchinson have a consistent body of work. You know what I mean? Aiden Hutchinson was one of the runner-ups for the Heisman, bro. You know what I mean? Kayvon Thibodeau was the consensus number 1 pick for a long, you know what I mean, for years. He's been the consensus number 1 overall pick for years going into this draft. So I do think the Jaguars will pick. I think their surprise pick, their quote-unquote surprise pick. Here's the thing: you gotta realize around the day of the draft, there are a lot of smoke screens. There's a ton of smoke screens that happen during the draft. So this is what's going to happen. Trayvon Walker, he's not going number 1. That's it. Let's just shoot that dead right now. That's not fucking happening. Because the Jaguars, you know what I mean? They don't like players that they don't like players that can only play one position. They like versatile players that can play multiple positions. You know what I mean? Think of their draft history. They've drafted Travis Etienne. You know, he's a running back. You know, he can play slot receiver. They tried to go after Kadarius Toney, who's a wide receiver, but you could put him at running back. You know what I mean? You could use him in jet sweeps like they used Deebo Samuel. You know what I mean? They drafted Caleb on Chason. He could be a defensive end. He could be outside linebacker. You know what I mean? So if you look at the Jaguars' draft history, they like drafting versatile players. And Trayvon Walker is probably going to be either a 3-4 defensive end or defensive tackle. There's not much versatility with this guy. So I think they're going to go with Kayvon Thibodeau. I think that because they've invested so much hype into Trayvon Walker. Now I think the reason they're doing that is to just try to you know what I mean, increase the value of the pick to see if they can get anything for it. But in the end, I think they're, because here's the thing. The reason why I think that the next pick is going to shock people is because this entire time we've been talking about either Aiden Hutchinson or we've been talking about Aiden Hutchinson or we've been talking about Trayvon Walker. And they're gonna, you know how they're gonna shock people? Why not take the guy who has been number one on the draft boards for like the past 3 years? You know what I mean? This dude, Kayvon Thibodeau, was the consensus number one pick for years now in this draft. For years. You go back 2 years, you go back 3 years. You look at the 2021 NFL draft, it was Kayvon Thibodeau. You know, and all of a sudden, they say he's gonna fall. Like, I don't know how he's gonna fall. I mean, he had a couple injuries here and there, but like, he's had by far the most consistent body of work compared to any of these other guys. You know what I mean? Like, Malik Willis just started to do something. Kenny Pickett had one good season. Aiden Hutchinson, we just started hearing about him. He might have been good before. You know, we just started hearing about him. Trayvon Walker, I mean, like, I don't know, like, maybe we've heard of him. I mean, but really, we haven't heard of him since, like, recently. But, like, you know, this dude, Kayvon Thibodeau, he's been there for a while. So, like, I think they're going to shock everyone by picking the guy who everyone thought was going to fall in the draft boards, who everyone thought, oh, maybe he's not number one overall. They pick Kayvon Thibodeau, number one overall. Lions, you know, obviously going to go with hometown kid Aiden Hutchinson, no question there. The Texans still got to fix that goddamn O-line. Still need to do that. You know what I mean? They have Laramie Tunsil, but, I mean, who do they have on as their right tackle? Like, Titus Howard, Marcus Cannon. I don't know who the hell their right tackle is. I'm pretty sure Marcus Cannon retired. I don't know if Marcus Cannon retired, or I don't know what the hell happened to Marcus Cannon. But all I know is that right tackle situation is looking hella shitty. Looking hella shitty for the Texans. So, go ahead and get Evan Neal. You know what I mean? Because here's the thing. They already said they want to keep Davis Mills. They said they want to keep Davis Mills. They say they want to build around Davis Mills. If you're going to build around Davis Mills, the least you could do is get him an O-line. You know what I mean? At least do right by him, because you fucked over Deshaun Watson, you know what I mean, by never getting him an O-line. So, the least you could do is go ahead and get Evan Neal. You know what I mean? Because I don't think, once you get past the top two pass rushers, I don't see what, like, you might as well just take Evan Neal, because, like outside of Kayvon Thibodeau and Aiden Hutchinson, I don't know who the hell is worth taking with that third pick as a defensive player, because Trayvon Walker, I do not think is worth the top 3 pick. I think he's worth the top 5 pick, but top 3? I don't know about that. And then we go to number 4. Now, there's been a lot of debate about Derek Stingley, and there's been a lot of debate about Ahmad Garner, but I think that Derek Stingley just has a higher ceiling. I think Derek Stingley has a higher ceiling than Ahmad Garner. Now, okay, here's the thing. Derek Stingley and Ahmad Garner, if I'm being completely honest, if I'm being like 100% honest, they could easily be interchangeable. I'm not gonna lie. They could easily, because here's my whole theory. See, Joe Burrow, you know what I mean? We've been seeing Joe Burrow just been recruiting everyone he possibly can from LSU. He recruited Jamar Chase. He recruited Thaddeus Moss. Like, he just trying to get every LSU motherfucker on the fucking team as possible. You know what I mean? So, I could easily see the Bengals going up and trading for Derek Stingley. That's definitely possible. That's 100% possible. I am not ruling that out. But I just feel like if you're the Jets, you want to draft the highest ceiling. Not the best win-now player, because God knows that's not going to happen anytime soon. But you want to draft the cornerback with the highest ceiling. And Derek Stingley, as much as he hasn't like really been that good for the past couple years because of injuries and stuff, he is the cornerback with the highest ceiling in this year's draft. Bar fucking none. Derek, like, you can say Ahmad Garner has played better the past few years, but Derek Stingley at his best, I think, will be better than Ahmad Garner at his best. So Ahmad Garner needs to go somewhere that is a win now team, and Derek Stingley needs to go somewhere that, you know what I mean, just want as many high ceiling guys as possible, want as many talented guys in the building, coach them up. Now we get to number 5. There's been a lot of rumors that the Giants are willing to trade that number 5 pick. And the reason I think they're willing to trade that number 5 pick is because I think they're fine with whoever they get. Whether it's Ikem Ekwonu or Charles Cross, I feel like they'll be fine with whichever one. Because if the Panthers are smart, I don't know if they are, but if the Panthers are smart, they will go ahead and draft O-line. They will go ahead and get Ikem Ekwonu. You know what I mean? The North Carolina boy. You feel me? Because all this talk about Malik Willis, all this talk about Kenny Pickett, all this talk about even Matt Corral or Desmond Ridder, any of that shit, none of it makes any sense. Because if you really think about it, the Panthers are not in a win-now situation. And they won't be in a win-now situation even if they draft a quarterback because, let's be honest, their O-line is trash. Why do you think McCaffrey's been hurt? You know what I mean? For the past 2 years, why do you think Sam Darnold's been hurt? You know what I mean? Why do you think damn near every fucking QB who goes on that goddamn roster ends up getting hurt? Because they don't have an O-line. They don't have an O-line. They've never had an O-line. And now, they go ahead and, you know, sign a couple guys. They go ahead and sign, like, Austin Corbett. You know, like, Austin Corbett, who's been, like... I mean, the Rams' O-line was, like, pretty... Well, it wasn't bad. It wasn't, like, horrible, but it was definitely below average. Their O-line was definitely below average, and that was with a good offensive coordinator in Kevin O'Connell. Kevin O'Connell's a good offensive coordinator, and that line was still garbage. Imagine he goes to Carolina, he's going to be even worse. So Corbett is going to look worse, and the Ravens have, like, the best blocking scheme in the league. So I don't know how Bradley Bozeman's going to look. And even on the Ravens' great blocking scheme, they didn't want his ass. So clearly he's not that good. So they got 2 guys. They just signed 2 guys who are just huge fucking question marks. You know what I mean? I guess they have Brady Christensen. I guess they have him. And then they have, what is it? They have him and they have Taylor Moton. Those are the 2 tackles. Their tackle situation is looking alright. I think their tackles are set. I don't think they have to worry about drafting tackles. Unless they want to move someone to guard. Like, if they want to move Brady Christensen to guard, maybe they go ahead and draft a tackle. But I think overall their tackle situation is fine. But that interior offensive line is what is the issue. And I feel like Ikem Ekwonu would be a more natural left guard than moving Brady Christensen to left guard. I think Ikem Ekwonu could slide in there, be their Quentin Nelson, you know what I mean? Could be their Zach Martin. Because I think Zach Martin's a more accurate comparison for this dude because Zach Martin can play all 5 positions of the O-line. He can play center, he can play both guard positions, he can play both tackle positions. So he could be that guy who just solidifies their O-line. And that's what they need. That is what the Panthers need. Because, like I stated earlier in my very... Like, I don't think I was really that, coherent, to say the least. I don't think I was really that coherent in my Panthers video. But, yeah, I mean, just to elaborate on that, it's like, it wouldn't be smart to draft a QB because they're going into a situation where you have to deal with the Saints defense. You know, the Saints defense is always good. The Buccaneers defense, as bad as their secondary is, their pass rush is always good, and the Buccaneers own the Panthers. You know what I mean? The Falcons, we don't want to talk about defense at all, but like, they're going in a division with some pretty good defenses, and they don't have a good O-line. You know what I mean? Christian McCaffrey has been injury prone the past 2 years, so whatever quarterback goes there is gonna have to throw more than he should normally have to. So, really, no QB is going to succeed in that situation. You know what I mean? It's not going to fucking happen, bro. Especially not in this year's draft. Not, like, if we were talking about, like, Andrew Luck or Peyton Manning or someone like that, of course you go ahead and do that shit. Like, if Andrew Luck just fucking, you know what I mean? If we got Andrew Luck from 2012, put him on the Panthers, sure, go right ahead. Draft that motherfucker. But I don't believe Malik Willis is going to do that shit. I don't believe Kenny Pickett's going to do that shit. I don't believe Matt Corral's going to do that shit. I don't believe any of these guys are going to do that shit. It's because, number one, they have a bad O-line. Number two, they have a running back who's always injured, so they're going to have to throw two times. They're going to have to throw 2 times as much. Number three, they have a bad offensive scheme. You know what I mean? There's a reason their offense has been trashed for, like, ever since Matt Rule got there. You know what I mean? This dude, what is it, like, Joe Brady has been trashed. You know, LSU kind of carried him. Now Joe Brady got fired. So I don't know who their offense coordinator is now. So, you look at the Panthers and you think they're a good team, but that's because of their defense. Their defense has made them look good in the past couple years. Their offense is fucking trash, though. Their offense is absolutely fucking garbage. Like, their offense is like literal horseshit. You know what I mean? And you cannot put a QB in that situation and expect him to succeed. Like I stated in yesterday's video, putting a rookie QB behind that Panthers O-line is the equivalent of the Giants drafting Saquon Barkley when they didn't have an O-line. It's the same shit, bro. It's the same shit, probably even worse, because if it blows up in your face, then Matt Rule is definitely getting fired. At least if he gets a guy like Gardner Minshew, and he drafts O-line, and they end up like 9-8, they could say, oh yeah, let's just get a QB next year. Because here's the thing. I think the reason why Matt Rule is on the hot seat, is because he went fucking 5-11 the past 2 years. If this motherfucker goes like 8-8 or some shit, or 9-8, and like barely misses out on the playoffs, or like is a wild card, I guarantee you he's gonna keep his job. The problem is just he's been fucking horrendous. If they're even in the playoff discussion, like Miami Dolphins style, because the Miami Dolphins past 2 years have been like 10-7, 9-8. If they're like in the discussion, I think he will keep his job. So I don't think there's, and the best way to keep the best way to make that happen is to get the O-line first. You get the O-line first, then you get the QB. You don't put a QB behind this trash ass O-line and expect him to do anything. You know, it's not finna happen, bro. This man ain't Joe Burrow. You know what I mean? And none of these players are Joe Burrow. You know what I mean? None of these players are Justin Herbert. It's not finna happen, bro. You cannot put any of these QBs behind these O-lines and expect them to succeed. Especially not Malik Willis, because Malik Willis needs to go somewhere where everything is just, you know what I mean? Everything is just gonna be easy for him. He needs to go somewhere like Trey Lance was with the 49ers. When Trey Lance went to the 49ers, he had a good run game, he had a good defense, he has a good O-line to work with, he has a good offensive system, offensive coordinator, head coach, all that shit. That's what he needs. He needs Malik Willis, in order to succeed, needs to go to the perfect situation, which I believe is Detroit. They have a good O-line, they have a good up-and-coming coach, they have a decent offense, they'll probably get 1 or 2 more receivers to make that offense even better. You know what I mean? He has like a veteran QB he can sit behind for a year and jerk off. That situation is perfect. He goes to the Panthers, they throw him into the fire. This kid is gonna be like a huge, like we thought like, you know what I mean? God rest his soul. We thought God rest his soul, but Dwayne Haskins, remember him? You know, that kid was like, that kid threw 50 fucking, that kid had more hype than Malik Willis did, and he threw 50 fucking touchdowns, and he failed in the NFL because, you know, the bum ass Washington just threw him into the fire, and he was never the same. And he had way more hype than Malik Willis does now. He was a way higher rated prospect. Now you could say there's some things about, you could say there's some flaws about Dwayne Haskins at that point as a prospect, but there's a lot of question marks for Malik Willis as well. So yeah, Malik Willis, he's not going to the Panthers. The Panthers drafting a QB would be the stupidest decision in NFL history. Outside of this Giants drafting Saquon Barkley, like the Panthers drafting a quarterback when they have no O-line, no offensive system, none of that shit, be the dumbest, the most retarded decision in NFL history. Moving on. That was a long rant. Like I said, I think the Giants are fine with either Ike Ekwonu or Charles Cross. So now, Ike Ekwonu gets picked by the Panthers, you know what I mean? Giants go ahead and draft Charles Cross, because they have Andrew Thomas. You know what I mean? Charles Cross can play right tackle or left tackle. In this situation, you slide him over to right tackle, but if Andrew Thomas gets injured, you can slide him back to left. You know what I mean? So, Charles Cross, perfect fit for the Giants. Garrett Wilson, wide receiver 1. You know what I mean? Absolute baller, absolute god. Garrett Wilson will be a stud with the Falcons. You know what I mean? We all know that shit. Garrett Wilson, next OBJ. Yeah, shit. I don't know. Maybe. But I do think Garrett Wilson is the best receiver in this year's draft. And I will get more into that in another video. But right now, I already spent so much time trying to fix all... Because I fucked up so bad in that whole like Panthers shouldn't draft a QB video. I kind of had to like address that. So yeah, number 9, the Seahawks. So there's a little trade that's going on between the Seahawks and the Giants, because like I said, the Giants are willing to trade that number 5 pick because they're probably fine with either Ike Ekwonu or Charles Cross. So they trade that number 9 pick. They go ahead and get Tyler Linderbaum. So now they have the center of the future and the right tackle. So right now their O-line is looking like, I think the Giants O-line currently is Andrew Thomas, Nick Gates. Okay, and that's like after this draft. You know what I mean? I'm talking about how the O-line would look after this draft. So their O-line is probably Andrew Thomas at left tackle, Nick Gates at left guard, Tyler Linderbaum at center, Mark Lewinsky at right guard, and then Charles Cross at right tackle. So that's looking pretty solid. Now Lewinsky is kind of a meh. You know what I mean? I think Nick Gates had a pretty decent season, but I think Lewinsky is like, he's kind of mid. He's not bad, but he's not good either. You know what I mean? But that's a serviceable O-line. Like that O-line under Brian Daboll, like that they should be decent. The Giants should. I'm not gonna say that they're gonna like either make the playoffs or gonna be a Super Bowl contender. I'm not gonna say any of that shit. But they should be right in the mix. They should at least be Miami Dolphins style, right in the mix. You know what I mean? And then at number 10, originally, for a second, I thought that the Jets were going to have to trade up for Kyle Hamilton, but now I'm hearing reports that Kyle Hamilton might actually fall in the draft. I don't know where those reports are coming, but I'm hearing a lot of different reports that he might actually fall in the draft. So, yeah, then it looks like the Jets don't have to trade up for him. They go ahead and just get Kyle Hamilton. The reason I had them picking Stingley at 4 is because I don't think he's going to be there at 10. If the Jets don't pick Stingley at 4, it's either Stingley or Sauce. I think they're going to pick Stingley just because they probably want high ceiling guys. Because Sauce has a higher floor, but I think Stingley has a higher ceiling. Like, Sauce is better currently, but I think Stingley will be better long term, which is probably what the Jets are looking for. You know, they're looking for the better long term guys, since they are a rebuilding situation. So yeah, Kyle Hamilton. Looks like they're not going to have to trade up for him. So, you know, the Jets, Derek Stingley and Kyle Hamilton, that secondary looking, you know, their pass was already pretty impressive last year, even without Carl Lawson. But now, that secondary is really looking good too. You know what I mean? Jets should be respectable next year. Jets, I definitely expect the Jets to be respectable next year. Not gonna say they're gonna be good, because it's the fucking Jets. But I think they should hover around 500. I think the Jets will be a respectable team next year, especially with the Patriots falling off a cliff. You know what I mean? I mean, the Dolphins, like, I don't know what's going on with them. I mean, they're trying to quote unquote fix Tua. I don't know if that's gonna happen or not. But moving on. At 11, I have the Washington football team picking Kenny Pickett, and the reason for this is because your QB is Carson Wentz. All right, okay. Here's the thing. I'll give Carson Wentz credit because I think he did a pretty good job in Indy. But everywhere else this dude has went, he's been fucking trash. Like, he's garbage. Like, he's garbage in Philly. You know what I mean? And now he goes to Washington with a worse O-line, a worse running back, and worse receivers. You know what I mean? Because, like, you know, obviously, you got Michael Pittman, you got Terry McLaurin, but I'm talking about the complimentary receivers, because Michael Pittman and Terry McLaurin, they're both gods. You know, we all know that. But then the complimentary receivers for the Colts are better than the complimentary receivers for Washington. Because who the hell were Washington's receivers last year? Like De'Ami Brown, Logan Thomas, who's been like trash ever since he got that contract. Like it can't really get that much better than the Colts. The Colts were literally the team that made the Colts head coach was the guy who made Carson Wentz MVP. If he can't win for them, he's not gonna fucking win on Washington, and he's gonna be back in the NFC East. You know what I mean? Where people are clowning him anyway, so it's not a good look. And I think they go ahead and get Kenny Pickett because they know it's not a good look. They know that Carson Wentz is not the long-term option. They go ahead and get Kenny Pickett. They see if Carson Wentz can play out the year. There's a chance he might get benched mid-season, and then they could probably just get rid of him again, you know, save some cap, have Kenny Pickett take over. So I don't know. Either Carson Wentz plays out the season, then Kenny Pickett starts afterwards, or Carson Wentz goes back to being Philly Carson Wentz, gets benched mid-season, you know, and then we see what Kenny Pickett's made of. But I think Kenny Pickett will be in Washington. I think Kenny Pickett will be the first QB off the board. And the reason for that is because, unlike some of these other QBs, Kenny Pickett can probably start right away. You know what I mean? Kenny Pickett actually has the ability to start right away. Now, he's not going to start right away in Washington because they're going to give Wentz a few games. You know, because they just traded like a third and a second. You know what I mean? So they're going to at least want to give him a few games. I think what they're going to do is they're probably going to bench him before they have to. Because, like, here's the thing. If they play him all of those snaps, then they're not going to be able to keep. They're going to have to lose their second round pick. But if they only play him for half the season, they get to keep that second round pick. They only lose a third. So, really, you go ahead and get your franchise QB. You know, you risk losing a couple seconds. You know what I mean? Just to help Kenny Pickett develop. It is what it is. You know what I mean? They needed a QB. They got the best available option in Carson Wentz. I mean, I would rather have Baker Mayfield than Carson Wentz. I don't know about you. I don't care about. I know Baker Mayfield gets a lot of shit, but I would much rather have him than Carson Wentz, bro. Dude, imagine picking Carson Wentz over Baker Mayfield. Like, what the hell? Like, whoever thought that was a good idea? I want someone to tell me. If anyone thinks that Carson Wentz is a better QB than Baker Mayfield, as much as people hate Baker Mayfield, like, if anyone thinks that Carson Wentz is a better QB than Baker Mayfield, I'm not talking about his entire career. I'm talking about currently. Then you're a fucking delusional. So that we all know that's not happening. So Kenny Pickett, Washington. I think I already discussed the whole Ahmad Gardner and Andrew Booth thing. I think Ahmad Gardner has a higher ceiling than Andrew Booth, but I think Andrew Booth has a higher floor. And I think the Vikings have drafted so many cornerbacks that have just blown up in their face, like Jeff Gladney, you know what I mean? And then they draft. I remember there was one year they drafted like 2 cornerbacks and like both of them sucked, and they had to like cut both of them. You know what I mean? Like the Vikings have been fucked over by cornerback play for so long. At this point, I think they just want the safer option. They want the safer option, number one. Number two, half of their roster is pretty old, so they're probably looking to get some draft capital. They're probably looking to get some draft capital to make that, you know what I mean? To make that roster a little bit younger, you feel me? Because, I mean, Harrison Smith is getting up there in age. You know, their linebackers are aging. I don't know what the hell happened to Anthony Barr, but looks like he's out of there. So yeah, I think they're gonna have to. I mean, here's the thing: to move up from 32 to 12, especially the Bengals, I think they'd be willing to give up a first-round pick. If you're the Bengals, you're looking to go back to the Super Bowl. You don't give a fuck about that first. You just upgraded your O-line. You just got Lyle Collins. You just got Ted Karras. You know what I mean? You just got, Alex Kappa. So you upgraded your O-line. You did everything you needed to do to upgrade your O-line. So you could probably trade your first and your second. You know what I mean? You could trade. You could trade. You know what I mean? This year's first, next year's first, and the second, just to get him on Garner. I would do it. If I'm the Bengals, I would do that shit, because what else is my weakness? I got some pretty good ass linebackers. I got some pretty good ass safety, you know, Von Bell, Jesse Bates. You know what I mean? I got some good ass defensive tackles, good ass defensive ends. And then like even in my cornerbacks, I got Mike Hilton, I got Chidobe Awuzie. You know that one weak link though? Trash ass Eli Apple. So all I gotta do, you know what I mean, move Eli Apple to the bench like they did to Kevin King. You know, the Packers said fuck you to Kevin King. They ended up getting Eric Stokes. I believe the Bengals will say fuck you to Eli Apple and end up getting Ahmad Garner. Now in this case, the cornerback draft is a lot more top heavy, so they're gonna have to end up trading up. I still believe Andrew Booth is a pretty good cornerback himself, because if you're the Vikings, you need as much draft capital as possible. You got some guys who are aging on the roster. You need as much draft capital as possible. In terms of the Bengals, you don't need all that draft capital. You just need the best players available to go get that fucking Super Bowl. Now, I don't think they're gonna get that Super Bowl, but the Bengals do. You know, the Bengals think they're gonna get that Super Bowl. So you gotta do everything possible to make sure that happens. So, you know what I mean? They make the trade of the century, get the hometown kid. I don't know if he's a hometown kid. I know he went to Cincinnati. I don't know if he's from Cincinnati. So they go get the Cincinnati kid, Ahmad Garner. Texans, now that they have the Browns pick because of the Deshaun Watson trade, I believe they got one good linebacker. His name is like Kamu Grugier-Hill. They got Kamu Grugier-Hill, who's a beast. You know what I mean? I think he has like 150 tackles or something. That man's an absolute stud. But other than that, they have no linebackers. Who are their linebackers? Like Eric Wilson. You know what I mean? Eric Wilson, who got cut mid-season. And then like who else? Like other than Grugier-Hill, they really don't have that many linebackers. So they go ahead, get Devin Lloyd. So now you have Devin Lloyd, Grugier-Hill. You know, those two should be an interesting combination. And then, yeah, so you got Grugier-Hill. So now you got Evan Neal, you got Grugier-Hill. So you solidify that linebacker position. You solidify that O-line. You solidify that O-line. You solidify that linebacker position. And the Ravens, I think they're going to go ahead and get George Karlaftis, because Calais Campbell, he's getting up there in age. Derek Wolfe, he's getting up there in age. They need someone on the front lines. I think Karlaftis can play defensive end or outside linebacker, but I think he's more fit to play defensive end, whether it's a 4-3 or a 3-4. So, but Karlaftis can play damn near every position. as an edge rusher. As an edge rusher, I think he can play damn near every position. So I believe the Ravens go ahead, bolster that pass rush even more. Originally, I had them picking Charles Cross, but then I realized Charles Cross is probably going to go a lot higher than I expected. Number one, he's going to go a lot higher. Number two, they signed Morgan Moses. So, yeah. And then the Eagles, we all know that infamous, I don't know if you want to call it a good trade, you want to call it a bad trade, but we all know that very famous trade the Eagles made with the Saints. And the two players I think they will get from that trade are Kenyon Green and Jameson Williams. And the reason that I think the reason they made that trade was because I feel like they think, because if you watch my original video, you would remember that I traded that third first round pick. I traded that third first round pick for Kenneth Walker. And the reason I did that was because I believe they don't need all three of those picks. One of those picks can be used to trade down, get some draft capital. So the Eagles probably thought, hold my beer, I'm gonna do the same shit. So the Eagles thinking like me. They thinking, okay, you know what, we'll trade one. They went about it a lot differently than I went about it, but they still, nonetheless, did the same shit. Because here's the thing, I think Kenyon Green and Jameson Williams, those were two guys they probably needed to draft. But in terms of that third first round pick, you know what I mean, I selected Kenneth Walker because Miles Sanders is a fucking garbage can. But really, they could really use that third first round pick on anybody. That shit could be Kyer Elam. I think Kyer Elam would be a great addition to the Eagles because the Eagles play a zone defense. Kyer Elam is probably more of a fit than Stingley or Gardner or any of these other guys because he is a zone corner. Or I don't know if he's a zone corner, but I think he's a much more equipped to play zone than some of these other guys. Because any Eagles fan who wants Sauce Gardner or who wants Derek Stingley clearly does not know shit about how defenses work. If you're a man corner, you play a defense, you play in a man defense. If you're a zone corner, you play in a zone defense. Remember a few years ago when the Eagles tried to get Nnamdi Asamoah and that man was just trash? You know what I mean? But then they got Asante Samuel Jr. and that man was a god. Or not, no, it's not Asante Samuel Jr. Asante Samuel Sr., the OG guy. We got Jr. on our squad. He's a god, so I can't slander that man. You know what I mean? But they got Asante Samuel Sr. and that man balled out because he is a zone corner. So I believe they don't need all three of those picks. They get Kenyon Green to replace Brandon Brooks. They could get you get Kenyon Green to replace Brandon Brooks. You go ahead and get what is it? Shit. Yeah, you go ahead and get Jameson Williams. So okay, here's the thing. I think the reason they did that trade was to make sure they got Chris Olave. Because there was a chance that the Eagles could have swooped in and gotten Chris Olave, and I think the Saints only wanted Chris Olave. I don't think the Saints were interested in Jameson Williams. I don't think they wanted to deal with James because they had to deal with Michael Thomas just missing games for the past few years. They had to deal with his bullshit. They're probably tired of receivers that can't stay healthy. So they just went ahead and did that trade, said, we are getting Chris Olave. Chris Olave wants to come to New Orleans. We're going to make sure we get him. You know what I mean? So now they get Chris Olave. So they get Kenyon Green. The Saints get Chris Olave. The Eagles still get Jameson Williams. The Chargers, even though they made a lot of moves on their run defense, I still believe they still need to get Jordan Davis because we have this trash can ass dude on our team named Jerry Tillery who needs to be cut immediately. And if we do this trade, then he will probably be pushed out of the rotation, which will give us leverage to trade him. You know what I mean? So, because right now we signed Austin Johnson, We signed Austin Johnson. We signed Sebastian Joseph Day. So that's 2 guys. We need 3 guys. We need 3 guys to officially push him. We need 3 guys to officially push Jerry Tillery out the back door. I think we might bring back Justin Jones. Maybe, maybe not. I heard we were going after Akeem Hicks. So we need to fill up that 3rd spot. I believe we go ahead and get Jordan Davis. Fill up that 3rd spot. You know what I mean? Get this whole thing behind us. You know what I mean? This Jerry Tillery mess is like, I can't deal with that man, bro. I'm done with that dude. That man literally sold our fucking playoff hopes. You know, I've never... So, I need someone to please tell me a worse run defender than Jerry Tillery. That man is fucking garbage, bro. So, yeah, we get Jordan Davis to replace Jerry Tillery. You know, get him straight the fuck off the roster. You know what I mean? Right out of there. You know what I mean? And then, yeah, moving on. You know, I already addressed Jameson Williams. And the Saints, you know, they also lost Teron Armstead, so they just go ahead and load up. You know what I mean? They get Chris Olave, they get Trevor Penning to replace Teron Armstead. So the Saints are like right back in this shit. They are right back in this shit. Back like they never left. They were 5-2 before Jameis got hurt. Now he's gonna come back. They'll be just fine. The Saints will be the Saints. They swept Tom Brady when they didn't have a QB most of the year. You know what I mean? And they went 9-8, like I said, once again, without a QB most of the year. So they go ahead, you know what I mean, reload up. Saints should be looking good. The Steelers, I believe, will get Sam Howell. They will get him. They will not get Malik Willis. Anyone who says they will get Malik Willis is delusional. Because this Steelers roster cannot afford to waste a year with Trubisky. Because I like Trubisky, but the Steelers offense, think of how much shit, like, Big Ben had to go through for the last 2 years. Because he was asked, like, you know what I mean, because they didn't have a good run game, they asked him to do everything, you know, they asked Najee Harris to do everything. So, like, I feel like if he went to the Browns, if Mitch Trubisky went to the Browns to be, like, Baker's backup, that would have been a better situation, because they're not going to ask him to do that much. But when you play for the Steelers, you actually have to throw the ball. You actually have to throw the ball a decent amount. It's not just a run play every play. You know what I mean? On the Browns, all he would have to do is make a couple throws and he'd be good. I think Mitch Trubisky can do that. I think Mitch Trubisky can run the ball like 40 times a game and throw the ball 20 times, make a couple good efficient throws. I believe he could do that. But if you're going to ask him to throw the ball 40 times like the Steelers are, like, he's not going to be able to do that. That's never been his strong suit. He's always been a running quarterback. He's never been a quarterback that could run. He's always been a running quarterback. And in order to utilize that, you need to go to an offense that runs more than they pass. The Steelers are more of a balanced offense. They like to, like, pass and run. Like, you know, they like to pass and run equally. But in order for Trubisky to succeed, he needs to go to a running offense. Now, I think Sam Howell is the best of both worlds. He can air it out 40 times a game, and I think he can, because he has a pretty strong arm. You know, he needs to work on, like, some of his decision making, but I think he has a pretty strong arm, and he can also run. So he's not, and you got the 2 North Carolina guys on the same team. That shit's gonna be hella interesting. You know what I mean? That's gonna be a hella interesting QB room. Hella interesting. So Sam Howell goes to the Steelers. Malik Willis is not going to fit on the Steelers. It's not going to happen, bro. He's not going to fit on the Steelers. They need someone, because Malik Willis is not going to be able to take over for Trubisky. That's not going to happen. Like, he needs to go to a rebuilding team. The Steelers are ready to win right now. They do not have the luxury that the 49ers have, because a lot of the 49ers players are pretty young. But the Steelers players are getting up there in age. Like, Cam Hayward is like 33 years old. Their entire secondary, I don't know what the hell happened to them. You know what I mean? Minka Fitzpatrick is coming up on a payday. So their team needs to win right now. You know, they don't have time to waste. They need a guy that can step in and play right away. Sam Howell, I think, will be that guy. I think Sam Howell has been the guy all along. I don't know where this Malik Willis shit came from, but trust me when I say Sam Howell will be the guy. And if they do not draft Sam Howell, the Steelers will be in for a shit show. Believe me. Any of these other QBs are not going to fit the Steelers. Like, Matt Corral's not going to fit the Steelers. Kenny Pickett's not going to fit the Steelers. You know what I mean? Malik Willis is not going to fit the Steelers. Sam Howell is the only option. I'm telling you, bro. Sam Howell, it's not that I believe Sam Howell is the best QB from this year's draft, because I really think Sam Howell's not that good. But I just believe he fits the Steelers' offense so well, like almost perfectly compared to the others. And ultimately, that's what teams base their draft needs on most of the time. Teams don't usually just take the best player available, unless it's like a top 10 player. Unless it's like a top 10 player on the draft. In the draft, they usually, once you get past the top 10, teams look more towards fit rather than best player available. Because a lot of times, the best player available is not the best fit, and usually does not perform well with that team, and usually does not perform well until he goes to another team. So, moving on, Patriots I already addressed. You know, they're getting Drake London. I think Drake London, you know, there's been some question marks about him. You know, he's had some separation issues, all that shit. So I think Drake London will fall in the draft somewhat. Not like too much, but I think he will fall a little bit. And like Garrett Wilson, he's going to be a Falcon. I already stated that. Chris Olave, he's going to be a Saint. Jameson Williams, he's going to be Eagle. So the Patriots go ahead, redeem their N'Keal Harry pick. They go ahead and get Drake London. And then Packers, we all know the Packers aren't going to draft a receiver. When is the last time the Packers have given a shit about Aaron Rodgers? This man literally signed for $50 million for like 4 years, so they don't have to do shit for him. You know what I mean? This man basically just signed away his rights. He just signed a blank check, gave away his rights, so now the Packers can do whatever the fuck they want. So, I believe they're going to do a couple things. The first thing they're going to do, they're going to get DeMarvin Leal, because, dude, anyone who thinks the Packers are going to draft a receiver in the first round knows nothing about how the Packers organization works. They're not doing that shit. When the hell have the Packers ever done that shit? At the very most, they're going to draft one in the second round. They're not going to draft a receiver in the first round. So, yeah. Because people got to realize, they don't only have 2 first-round picks. They have 2 second-round picks. So they could probably use that Raiders pick on, like Justin Ross or some shit. You know, I heard there's a lot of good receivers that are in the second round, so they don't necessarily have to. Because here's the thing, who the hell is their right tackle? Because they just cut Billy Turner, Dennis Kelly, I think he's also a free agent. So they don't have a right tackle. They don't have anyone on the defensive line outside of Kenny Clark, because Kingsley KK, I'm pretty sure he got cut. And then Dean Lowry is trash. So they need another defensive. They need another 3-4 defensive end or D tackle or whatever. They need another guy on that D line, because that D line without Kenny Clark is absolute horseshit. So they go ahead. So DeMarvin Leal will be a Packer. Originally, I had the Raiders picking DeMarvin Leal because they also need someone on the defensive line. But yeah, DeMarvin Leal will be a Packer. And now, here comes the Malik Willis trade. This, like I said multiple times, is the best landing spot for Malik Willis. You know what I mean? This is by far the best landing spot for Malik Willis. He goes to Detroit, like I said, veteran QB. He can sit behind, rebuilding situation, no pressure, up-and-coming coach. You know what I mean? Up-and-coming offense, decent O-line, all that shit. Perfect situation. The Cardinals, we all know the Cardinals like to reach on some players. Like, they got, like, Zaven Collins and Isaiah Simmons. You know, they like to pick some players, you know what I mean, that, like, you know, similar to the Raiders, that's not a lot of people's draft boards. That's not usually what people have said that they would pick in the mock draft. Well, they like to pick those type of players. So I believe Chandler Jones just left. So they're going to need to replace Chandler Jones. They go ahead and David Ojabo was supposed to be a top 10 pick before he got injured. They go ahead and trade down, get David Ojabo. You know, they trade down, get David Ojabo, get some draft capital, because I think the Cardinals, they have like a lot of needs to fill on their team. Even though they're a talented team, I believe they have a lot of holes on their roster. They need as much draft capital as possible, and I think the Lions are willing to give that up because they have a couple second-round picks. You know, they have the 2 first-round picks this year, so they have a lot of draft capital to give up. And you know what I mean? And I believe the Cardinals I think the Cardinals can probably get David Ojabo at 32. So, yeah. Now we go to the Cowboys. Now the Cowboys, I think they're just going to pick the best lineman available. Because Trevor Penning, I think, was like a lock to go to the Cowboys before the whole Saints-Eagles trade went down. But now I think they're going to go ahead and get Bernard Raymond. I don't know. It could honestly, I have no clue about most of the tackles in this year's draft. Outside of like Evan Neal and Trevor Penning, I really don't know much about the left tackle. I really don't, actually no. We got Ike McWanwu, Charles Cross, Evan Neal, and Trevor Penning. Outside of those 4 guys, I'm absolutely clueless on the offensive linemen in this year's draft. But I'm just gonna say like maybe Bernard Raymond. I mean, you could definitely criticize me on the Cowboys pick because I'm not 100% sold on who the Cowboys are going to pick, but I do believe they will pick an offensive tackle because Lyle Collins just left. I think Tyron Smith probably has 1 or 2 years left on his deal. They'll probably look to move him eventually. You know what I mean? And then the Bills, Tre'Davious White was out all year. Taron Johnson, I don't believe is like a bona fide number 1 corner, so they go ahead and get Trent McDuffie, solidify that cornerback room, because that cornerback room, you know what I mean, outside of Tre'Davious White, there's a lot of question marks. There are a lot of question marks on that cornerback room. They go ahead and solidify that shit with Trent McDuffie. The Titans, you know what I mean, I think they've seen enough of Ryan Tannehill shit. I really do. They had that one fluke run, in 2019, sunk back down to earth in 2020, and this year, this was supposed to be their year. They were the number 1 seed. All they had to do was get within 20 yards, you know what I mean? And they lost to the fucking Bengals, the same team that went 4-12 the year before. You could see all about that in my whole Ryan Tannehill is trash video. You can see all about that shit. I talk all about that shit, but I don't want to get any further. So they've probably seen enough of Ryan Tannehill at this point, and if they were to get rid of him, they would actually gain like $30 million in cap space. So I believe they go ahead and get Matt Corral, you know what I mean, get Ryan Tannehill, because last year was their best chance. They're not going to be as good as they were last year. It's not going to happen, bro. Like, the only reason they were good last year was because every other team was, like, either unimpressive or, like, injured as fuck. And this year, everyone's gonna be healthy, you know what I mean? You got a bunch of QB upgrades in the AFC. So, Matt Corral, I think, will still be the pick. Buccaneers, they just lost Jordan Whitehead. Their safety play is trash. I believe they go ahead and get Jaquan Brisker. The Packers, get, Nicholas Petit-Frere, because like I said, they need some help on the defensive line, they need some help on right tackle, so they go ahead and get both. Nakobe Dean, he outside of Devin Lloyd, he's the best linebacker in this year's draft. They go ahead and get him at number 30, which seems like an absolute steal to me. You know what I mean? Because they have Nick Bolton, but outside of Nick Bolton, they really don't have that many good linebackers. Like, who else do they have? Like Willie Gay, Dorian O'Day. I don't know. Who the hell? Like, someone please tell me they're linebackers outside of Nick Bolton. They have no good linebackers outside of Nick Bolton. They just cut Anthony Hitchens. So I believe they get Nakobe Dean, solidify that linebacker position. They get Jahan Dotson, who I think is probably one of the fastest receivers in this year's draft, outside of Jameson Williams. So they go ahead and get Jahan Dotson. That man's a beast. I think he's probably like a Stephon Diggs light. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna say a worse version of Stephon Diggs, but he has a very similar game to Stephon Diggs. So I think Mahomes will like playing with Jahan Dotson. I already addressed the whole Andrew Booth, Ahmad Garner thing with the Bengals. The Bengals trade down. They go ahead. The Bengals trade down. They go ahead and get. Yeah, the Bengals trade down. They go ahead and get Ahmad Garner. The Vikings go ahead and get. Andrew Booth. You know what I mean? And then the Lions, I already addressed that. You know what I mean? The Chandler Jones replacement. Marcus Golden is also getting up there in age. So, yeah, that's the final, the absolute final. Unless some crazy ass shit happens, I'm pretty sure all the crazy ass draft. I'm pretty sure all the crazy ass pre-draft day trades are over. There might be some during the draft, but I'm pretty sure all the pre-draft day trades are over. So, yeah, with that being said, I'm out. Peace.
Okay, there's a couple things I forgot to mention. First off, I completely forgot about Zion Johnson, if I'm being 100% honest. And also, another thing, because I said Bernard Raymond for the Cowboys. And remember I said, Bernard Raymond? But the more and more I think about it, I don't think the Cowboys are going to go after a tackle if it's not Trevor Penning. Because I feel like the Cowboys, in this instance, they really don't have too many weaknesses. So I feel like the Cowboys are just going to go for the best player available. And, they probably just want to get younger on O-line. But, they would like a tackle. But at the same time, if they can't get a tackle, you might as well just get the best player available. Which, in my opinion, is Zion Johnson. So, yeah, it makes sense for them to go after Zion Johnson because Connor McGovern, I believe Connor McGovern can be a starter. But here's the thing. You gotta realize Zach Martin is old as shit. So, they could keep Connor McGovern for a couple more years. Once Zach Martin, finally gets old, then they could start McGovern over him. But in the meantime, you need someone to fill Connor Williams' role, and I feel like McGovern is more of a right guard than a left guard, because I think McGovern can be a starter. I think McGovern can either be a starter, he could be a backup, he's right on that fringe, but I definitely believe he could be a solid starter. But, I think they want a guy who could immediately replace, be they want someone who could be what Connor Williams was, but even better. You know what I mean? They want to draft someone like Connor, similar to the skill set of Connor Williams, but without all the penalties, without all the baggage, all that shit. So, yeah. What I think they're going to do, the more and more I think about it, Zion Johnson, he's going to be a first-round pick. The reason I had him not be a first-round pick last time was because, the Dolphins made that trade. I thought, okay, the Dolphins were going to pick him. And it would have been weird for, someone who didn't get picked at, someone who got picked at 29 to all of a sudden jump away at 24. But the more and more I thought about it, if Trevor Penning is going to go to the Saints, I feel like the player the Cowboys are going to target is Trevor Penning. If Trevor Penning is gone, if Trevor Penning is gone, why would they still take a tackle? At that point, you might as well just take the best offensive lineman available, and in this case, that's Zion Johnson. Because a lot of people think, oh yeah, maybe Zion Johnson could go to the Buccaneers, to replace Ali Marpet. But number one, the Buccaneers O-line, they just traded for Shaq Mason. That's number one. Number two, their secondary is fucking trash, and they just lost Jordan Whitehead, so they're probably gonna draft a safety. Because the safeties outside of Kyle Hamilton, you could get a safety in like the second, either late first or second round. Like this is not a safety class where it's like, because I remember like there's been some classes, I think like the 2017 class with Jamal Adams. Like there's been some safety classes where like they had a lot of safeties in the first round, but this is probably one where it's like, you could really get a safety at like the very end of the first round. So, Taquan Brisker, I think is the bet, because when you talk about safeties, there's two types of safeties. There's like a box safety, which is the strong safety, and then there's obviously the free safety. So, Kyle Hamilton is obviously the best free safety in this year's draft, but I think the best strong safety is probably going to be Jaquan Brisker, and I think they go get him. Because Antoine Winfield is alright, but at the same time, because Logan Ryan, they signed him, but he's not like the youngest in the world. Like Logan Ryan's not the youngest in the world, and then Mike Edwards is going to be a free agent in a year or so. So I think what they're going to do, because I don't know how long they signed Logan Ryan for. I gotta check on Logan Ryan's deal, but I'm pretty sure they didn't sign Logan Ryan for that long. So what I am guessing is once Mike Edwards and Logan Ryan are free agents, then they could just slot in. They could just slot in. They could just slot in my man Jaquan Brisker, and then they could move Antoine Winfield back to free safety. Because right now, he's gonna move to strong safety since Logan Ryan usually plays free safety. So Winfield is gonna move over strong safety, but he could also play free safety. You would prefer him to play strong safety, but he can definitely play free safety. Like he's one of those hybrid safeties. Like there's some safeties. There's some strong safeties that can only play strong safety, because I believe a lot of free safety can also play strong safeties, but a lot of strong safeties can't play free safety. Because free safety has to be able to tackle and cover, mainly cover, but then strong safety has to be able to tackle and cover, but mainly tackle. So, as long as you can cover, you probably have more versatility. But I'm making this video too long, because really, there's only a couple changes that I want to make. So, I don't want to clickbait y'all. The more and more I think about it, because the Jets, here's the thing the Jets have done. The Jets want to win right now. They want to win right now. They're not going to take a risk. You see the players that Robert Saleh signs. He always signs and goes after sure things. Has this front office ever taken a risk? Like this front office loves to play safe. They always get the best guys. I've never seen them take a gamble, which could be a good thing, which could be a bad thing. But if you're the Jets, you don't want to take a risk, because people are just gonna say, oh yeah, you fumbled the draft. So you want to do the safe thing. So yeah, because here's the thing: if they draft Stingley over Ahmad Gardner, it's gonna get mixed reviews. But if they draft Sauce Gardner, then it's like they know he's gonna be good, because they already have Bryce Hall, and I don't know. I think I think the Jets. I remember I said something about, oh yeah, you know, Derek Stingley has more upside than Ahmad Garner, but I think the Jets want to win right now. I truly believe, like, they're going all in. They believe this division is up for grabs, because if you look at the Patriots are trash, bro. Like, the Patriots just lost J.C. Jackson. Now they're bringing in, like, I don't know who the hell they're, like, they brought in, like, fucking Devontae Parker. You know what I mean? You know, they brought in Devontae Parker, like, that's gonna do anything. And, like, I don't know, I feel like the Patriots are not, they might still make the playoffs next year, but it's not gonna be a fun ride for the Patriots, man. You know what I mean? Because they got a lot of good QBs in the AFC now. So that division might be up for grabs. Because here's the thing. We all know the Bills are winning that division. Everyone on the planet knows the Bills are winning that division. The question is, who wants to get second place? So the Jets, the Dolphins, and the Patriots, they're all fighting for second place. And right now, you know, the Patriots, they just lost J.C. Jackson. You know, they cut half their fucking roster. You know what I mean? I don't even know what they're doing at this point. But yeah, you know, the Patriots are basically screwed. And then you got the Dolphins, who, you know, they just signed Teron Armstead, which is the signing that I fuck with the most. I think Teron Armstead, because they need someone on that line, bro. They needed to make a big splash in free agency on the O-line, because in terms of receivers, they have Jalen Waddle. You know, Devontae Parker, when he's healthy, is pretty good. So I didn't think they needed to go too big on receiver. I think they could have tried to get like a decent receiver. You know what I mean? But I didn't think that was the priority. But I think the priority was to get a top tier offensive lineman in free agency, and they have seemed to do that. But the problem is, here's the thing. I don't think Tua is the problem. I think the problem is you're trying to make Tua something he's not. You're trying to make Tua Patrick Mahomes. You're getting him Jalen Waddle. You're getting him Tyreek Hill. This dude is not a throw down the field type of guy. You know, he's an NFL QB, so obviously he could throw him down the field when he needs to, but that's not his strong suit. His strong suit, you know, is dotting people up, Drew Brees style. You know what I mean? When Baker went healthy, you know, Baker Mayfield style. You know, he likes dotting people up. And when you like dotting people up, you need guys like Jarvis Landry. You need guys who can move in the slot. You know, you need guys who can move in the slot. You know, who catch some contested balls, because, you know, even though Tua is accurate, you know what I mean? He would obviously like to have a yards after catch receiver. So I think if you're the Jets, if you're the Dolphins, you know, right now Deebo Samuel is available. You know, Deebo Samuel is available for trade. Kyle Shanahan confirmed that. You know what I mean? And I feel like Deebo Samuel would have been a better fit for this offense, because he's more of a run after the catch guy. And Tua needs those type of guys. I feel like Tua would work better with either route runners, you know what I mean, like a Michael Thomas type, you know, Devontae Smith, you know what I mean, all that shit. Or a run after the catch guy like Jamar Chase, Deebo Samuel, all that shit. The speed receiver is like at least for Jalen Waddle, he's a good run after the catch guy. Tyreek Hill is not really a run after the catch guy. He just burns people down the field. But he doesn't really like run after the catch as well as people think. I mean, obviously he does good in returns, but if you watch this dude play, you know, if he's not burning people down the field, he's not really doing much. You know, it's not really like this dude's just like, you know what I mean, catching passes in the middle of the field. And even when he catches passes in the middle of the field, those are like 30, 40 feet downfield. You know? So even when he does middle of the field shit, it's still deep. So, yeah, like I said, I don't know why I made this video too long, because there's only 2 real changes. Because I don't want to clickbait y'all with this shit. The more and more and more I think about it, like I've been going over, are the Jets getting Stingley? Are the Jets getting Ahmad Gardner? And I feel like the Jets, by getting Stingley, they're admitting that they still are okay with being a rebuilding team. With getting Sauce Gardner, they're saying, we want to win right now. And I do believe they are going the we want to win right now approach. Because let's look at the Jets right now. Let's say they get Sauce Gardner. Let's say they get Kyle Hamilton. You know what I mean? And then Deebo Samuel, he wants a trade, right? So Deebo Samuel wants a trade. So let's say, the Jets were in on the Tyreek Hill sweepstakes. They lost out on that. But in reality, losing out on Tyreek Hill might be a blessing in disguise. Because if you get Deebo Samuel, he's a few years younger. You know what I mean? He fits the offense perfectly because, he played for the 49ers, for the Jets' current OC, who used to be the 49ers OC. You know what I mean? So, he's younger, fits the offense, he's cheaper. You know what I mean? And also, he helps your run game, too, because, because last year, Raheem Mostert was injured all year. So then they had Elijah Mitchell and Trey Sermon. So then, the Jets, they have Michael Carter, but outside of him, that run game is kind of suspect. So you add Deebo Samuel, so to help out that run game. So in case, you don't have good running backs on the roster, you still got Deebo Samuel. So yeah, I do believe, I was thinking about it, and I feel like the Jets are ready to fight for a wild card spot. Because it's going to be Zach Wilson's second year. He got better as the season got along. I was calling this man fucking Zach Glennon for how bad he played the first half of the season. But he went from that to being 30 seconds away from beating Tom Brady. So I gotta give him credit for that. I really do. And also, I low-key fuck with Zach Wilson because I had Elijah Moore and Michael Carter on my fantasy squad, and he managed to get both of them points. Because I picked up Elijah Moore towards the second half of the season, and then I had Michael Carter. I drafted Michael Carter, then I cut him, then I brought him back a couple weeks later, and then Michael Carter he started off pretty rough, but I don't know, Zach Wilson, he really knows how to use those two guys. Corey Davis ain't shit. Corey Davis is a waste of money. Jameson Crowder, I feel didn't fit the current Jets offense. But Elijah Moore and Michael Carter. Yeah, Elijah Moore and Michael Carter. He got those 2 fantasy points, bro. I gotta give my man Zach Wilson credit for that. I didn't think he could do it, but he got my man Elijah Moore busy. He got my man Michael Carter busy, and I gotta give him credit for that, man. I really do. So, and then you add Deebo Samuel. So now you have Deebo Samuel, Corey Davis, and Elijah Moore, and Michael Carter. You know what I mean? And you just signed C.J. Uzomah. You just signed C.J. Uzomah. You just signed Tyler Conklin. So you got 2 tight ends. You got Mike Carter, who's a pretty good third down back. You know what I mean? And now you have that, that wide receiver trio of D. So I'm gonna explain more about the Deebo Samuel thing in another video. I don't want to spoil that right now because what we're talking about is, the Jets, right? Or not the Jets. We're talking about the mock draft as a whole. So, yeah. just like I said, the two major changes I made, as opposed to like the earlier video you just saw, or like this is just an add-on, you know, because I'm just gonna merge this in one video. So yeah, basically two changes is Zion Johnson to the Cowboys instead of Bernard Raymond, and then, you know, I officially announced, because I said the Jets can get Stingley or Gardner. I'm officially announcing that it will be Ahmad Gardner. Ahmad Gardner will be a Jet. And then Derek Stingley will be a Bengal. Because here's the thing, this makes more sense. I would understand, because if you're the Vikings, you know what I mean? If you trade away the rights for Ahmad Gardner, you know, that fan base is gonna fucking riot. But if you trade away the rights for Derek Stingley, I feel like they would understand, just because Derek Stingley has a few question marks. Derek Stingley definitely has a few question marks. You know, he has an injury history that's very concerning. You know, he had a great year a couple years ago, but, you know, he hasn't really been the same ever since. So I feel like the fan base would understand more when it comes to Derek Stingley, because I've consistently stated that the Vikings have constantly been fucked over by bad cornerback play. So at this point, I feel like because Derek Stingley is a high-risk player. He is a high-ceiling player, but he's also a high-risk player. I feel like the Vikings, they're done with taking high-risk players, because they've taken high-risk players all the time. And sometimes it's worked for them, but in terms of the cornerback position, it's usually blown up in their face. So I feel like they're tired of that. You know, they want the draft capital. They probably go ahead and trade Derek Stingley over to the Bengals. You know what I mean? So now you got the LSU gang for real. Now you got Jamar Chase. You got Thaddeus Moss. You got Derek Stingley. You know, now Justin Jefferson just crying in the corner, bro. Justin Jefferson is just fucking crying in the corner. You know, he's probably going to wipe his tears with, like, the $35 million he's going to get in a couple years. You know what I mean? Because here's the thing. If Tyreek Hill, who's, like, starting to age, like, Tyreek Hill is aging. Tyreek Hill is like, going on 30. You know, he's starting to age, and that man just got $30 million. Imagine what Justin Jefferson's going to get. You know what I mean? You know, because he's just going to enter his prime in a couple years. So that man probably getting fucking $35 million, bro. I'm telling you right now, by the time Justin Jefferson is a free agent, he's getting $35 million. I'm telling you right fucking now. But yeah, back to what I said. I feel like Vikings fans would be a lot more open to the idea of trading away Stingley. Because if you trade away Ahmad Gardner, they're going to be like, oh, why'd you trade away Ahmad Gardner? You know what I mean? Vikings fans would fucking riot if you traded away Ahmad Gardner. But if you trade away Derek Stingley, then they'd be like, okay, we understand. He has an injury history. He has a high ceiling. But he also has a lower floor. You know, let's go ahead and get Andrew Booth. So, yeah. All in all, I feel like this makes a little bit more sense. Because, like I said, it really depends on the Jets' mentality. If the Jets believe that they're ready to win right now, if the Jets truly believe they're ready to win right now, they go ahead and get Sauce Gardner. If they believe, you know, they're a rebuilding team, they want to get as many high-ceiling guys as possible, then they go ahead and get Derek Stingley. But I do believe the Jets believe they're ready to take this division. They're not ready to take this division, but they're ready to take second place in this division. Because the AFC East, outside of the Bills, is wide open, bro. It's wide open. You know, the Dolphins, the Jets, the Patriots, those teams will be fighting to the bitter fucking end. Those teams will be because, dude, the Patriots are fucked, bro. Like, they lost J.C. Jackson, they lost Shaq Mason, they just cut Kyle Van Noy. They're probably going to lose Dante Hightower. I don't know what's happening to him. So, like, you know, the Patriots might be looking at okay, the Dolphins are going to be last in the division. I'm just going to point that out right now. The Dolphins, all these moves are going to blow up in their face because they chose the wrong receiver, bro. The Dolphins are fucking stupid, bro. I don't know what the Dolphins are doing. Why would you get a guy... I'm not going to say he has a weak arm. Why would you get a guy who likes to dot up people? You know? Why would you get Drew Brees and give him Patrick? Like, okay, think about it this way. This is the analogy I make. Because Tua is not Drew Brees. I'm talking about playstyle-wise. Why would you have Drew Brees on your roster and give him Patrick Mahomes type of weapons? You know what I mean? This would be like the Saints if they gave Drew Brees, instead of having Michael Thomas, you know what I mean, who he literally made Michael Thomas set records. You know what I mean? He made Michael Thomas set records with his connection. Instead of giving him Michael Thomas, you know what I mean, and guys like, you know, and Alvin Kamara and guys like that, now you want to give him Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. You know what I mean? It makes no sense. You gotta get him guys that can route run. You gotta get him guys that can run after the catch. Or maybe you get him guys that could, like, you know, moss people like a Julio Jones type. He's not going to work well with burners. He could throw down the field, but that's not what he's comfortable with doing. You know, you got to play to the strengths of the quarterback. So I feel like the Dolphins... Actually, no. The more I think about it, are we sure the Patriots aren't going to finish 4th in the division? Are we really sure they're not going to... Because the more I think about it, I don't see why they wouldn't. Because I really don't see why they would not finish 4th in the division. Like, someone please tell me a compelling argument to why the Patriots will not finish 4th in the division. Because, you know, they traded away Shaq Mason. They don't have J.C. Jackson anymore. You know, they lost their linebacking core. Like, you know what I mean? And then they get Mac Jones, Devontae Parker, and then tell him to have fun. You know what I mean? Here's the Dolphins thought so lowly. They thought so lowly of Devontae Parker. They traded him to their division rival. That's how much they think Devontae Parker ain't shit. Because if you ever have a great receiver on your roster, you do not trade him to a division rival. You know what I mean? This is, dude, the Patriots. Okay, think about it this way. Like, imagine if the Chiefs traded Tyreek Hill to the fucking Chargers. You know what I mean? Like, imagine Tyreek Hill getting traded to the fucking Chargers. You know what I mean? The whole world would go insane. It's like, oh my god, Justin Herbert just got Tyreek Hill. You know what I mean? Tyreek Hill, you know what I mean? Chargers winning the division, all that shit, right? But no, that's not what happened. That's not what happened. The Dolphins were like, okay, this man is so trash. We gonna just give him the all. You know, we don't care if he's your division rival. You know, he the ops. You know what I mean? He's so bad, he gonna help us win. You know what I mean? Like, this man Devontae Parker gonna give us wins. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's basically the gist of it. But with that being said, I'm out. Peace.